Welcome back, everyone. I'm Crane Bramp, you're all brainiacs, and we've arrived at Chapter 3 of our modded journey, where I spend most of the episode recovering from a seemingly good decision early on. So strap in, because today, we're going bigger. Chapter 3. Man, we've come a long way, and I am really enjoying this series. A fantastic pack, and if I had one complaint, it's that there's so much to do, I'm constantly fighting to stay focused. I hope you're enjoying the series too, and if you are, hey, see that button over there? Clicky, clicky. Anyway, we can start out talking about some general maintenance stuff. I've been farming as always and put out some normal beehives so that we can have some bees around the farm for visuals. Nice to have them buzzing around the garden. Made bee expansion boxes for all of the current bees that actually produce resources. This allows the hive to support 2 additional bees and allows putting bee upgrades into the expansion box, which will improve the bee houses, but that's a later discussion. Anyway, just basic cleanup and trying to start a bit of decoration to make the place look a little homey now that we've got some spare time. But as bad 90 cartoons would say, it's time to get crack-a-lackin' straight out the gate. Our goal is the digital miner, a fabled rare beast that magically teleports ores into its belly, providing them to you for tasty treats. So let's pull up the recipe. Oh. So the digital miner is a boss. Unfortunately, the grind to make it is also a boss. Really, the biggest recipe roadblocks are these 2, atomic alloy and refined obsidian, both of which require diamonds. Lots of diamonds. I have 6. If it's not clear, that's not nearly enough. Needing to think, I went searching in the Nether for a fortress. Again. And didn't find one. Again. On the bright side, though, every single time I go to the Nether, I get attacked by a ghast. This is great since I'm building up gas tiers. That's always a short commodity. Anyway, diamonds. We're not near breeding diamond bees yet. I don't have the resources yet to create diamond seeds in mystical agriculture. So, after thinking about it, since I do have the mining dimension, the best way to get diamonds is probably just to put our big boy pants on and go grind it out. So that's what we do. Mining is kind of chill to me, so this wasn't a huge deal. I get a simple rhythm going, mine, torch, mine, torch. I can even end up watching some content, and probably a couple of hours later got me 2.5 stacks of diamonds, which should be right at enough. It'll take a while to process out all these atomic alloys and refined obsidian, but we got plenty to do in the meantime. Speaking of mystical agriculture, to progress through that quest line, we're going to need lots of Inferium. See, there are 5 levels of Inferium upgrade. We've talked about this before with an 8-to-1 ratio between each level. You need 8 Inferium to make 1 Prudentium, 8 Prudentium to make 1 Tertium, etc. Math says that you need 64 Inferium to make 1 Tertium, 512 to make 1 Imperium, and 4,096 Inferium to make 1 Supremium. Math. Go stand in the corner. May I note at this point that I realized that the Pipes mod, Pipes with a Z, not an S, is in this pack. Fantastic pipe mod. Extremely low lag, cheap recipes. It's my favorite pipe mod for moving stuff around in local networks that are like off of the Xnet grid, or if you're doing AE2, when we get to AE2, isolated networks. You can use wrenches and the mechanism wand on it, so sneak right click and it goes through pull, push, and none with the pipes, and they're upgradable for rate and all that stuff. Over time, all the mechanism pipes will get replaced with these. You'll see them. Alright, let's automate this Inferium. So we build 6 garden cloches and an RFTools Tier 1 Crafter. Place down the cloches, run power and water, run item pipes down the front, pulling from the cloches into a small barrel. The crafter pulls from the barrel and then dumps into a final barrel as Prudentium, which I can upgrade as needed. Now, the RFTools Crafters is a machine that is an automated crafting table. There are 3 tiers of the crafter, and each has a certain number of recipes that it can learn and craft, and you can pipe in and out of it. We just need the tier 1, which can do 2 recipes. You teach it recipes by just double-clicking a recipe in the interface and then placing that recipe's ingredients in the recipe's crafting grid. You can also dictate whether the items produced stay on the crafting grid, stay in the internal buffer, go to the output, or even some combination. They're insanely cheap to build, they run on low power, and craft blazingly quick. Absolute beasts. We set up the recipe to upgrade Inferium to Prudentium. This requires an infusion crystal. This crystal stays in the grid when we craft, so we keep that. And then we send the Prudentium that we make to the output. We can easily automate all the way to Supremium, but we're going to need quite a bit of all that intermediate steps like Tertium. Getting even the first upgrade automated, though, will help out immensely to where we don't have to upgrade that first step. Note that each upgrade stage requires its own specific infusion crystal, and that all of these crystals have durability, and to make them, they cost diamonds. There's a master crystal which doesn't have durability, but it's way down the line. So, like many things, be aware you're going to need a steady supply of diamonds to work with this mod. Next, looking for it and knowing we're going to need it, I built B Central. Windows are black and yellow, got little eyes on the front, stylish and functional. This is a dedicated floor in the B house for automation, processing, and power generation. We have item pipes pulling combs and materials from all of the bee houses. That all leads into a single gold barrel. Then we pull from the barrel and we distribute that to an entire line of powered centrifuges, which output comb resources and honey. The honey is piped to a tank and then pulled from the tank and sent to a line of honey generators. So this, combined with the solar power that we have from me following the solar power quest line, which I've been putting over here, gives us plenty of power to run this constantly and makes it all self-contained. There's like a couple of little basic energy cubes over there, and they work fine for this. A neat feature that I kind of accidentally discovered with the centrifuges worth mentioning is that if you pipe an item to the centrifuge that the centrifuge won't process, it accepts the item and just immediately passes it on to whatever their output is. So things like the logs that come through from the lumberjack bees don't clog the system, they actually just pass through to where the comb output is. Uber nice forethought there. So from the comb output barrel, we pull to the emerald furnace that we had outside earlier in the last build. This smelts the ores that we get, smelts the logs to make charcoal, and so on, and then the charcoal I feed back into the emerald forge so that it's all self-contained. We also put in a trash can, set it to whitelist and only accepting wax and pollen puffs, and pipe that over to it since they appear to be pretty much useless. This whole system here will be simple to add on to as we add more floors. All we got to do is pipe items down and connect into the system, and it's already set up to process everything. We'll tune it as we grow and add anything if we need to. Bees done, it's Smeltery time. Now, there's not a quest line for Tinker's Construct, but it's my favorite way to mass alloy materials, and there have been some changes in 1.18 that I'd like to explore. So, you know how it goes if you've messed with it. It's grout to seared brick, make some seared glass so we can see inside, a tank to hold some lava, and a controller, and bam, Smeltery. Now, not wanting to fill this by buckets of lava, I made an advanced tank, went to the nether, and was peacefully filling it when I missed putting a bucket of lava in the tank, and instead, somehow, the lava source block occupied the block space where the tank was. This is a problem. If I try to pick the lava up, it accesses the tank and just pulls a bucket out. Same for sneak right-clicking. After messing with it for like 5 minutes, I just break it. My magnet will grab it and...
Voy a la playa, ya subió la marea.
I have no words. Damn it, man. Make another tank and do it again, making sure to be very careful this time that I put all the lava in the tank. Take the tank back, hook it up to the smeltery with a fluid pipe, and there we go. Drama lava for the smeltery, and if I need some, I just bucket it out of the tank. So, turning back to Mekanism, I'm using this base level metallurgic infuser, which does one infusion at a time, and it's like taking forever. I'm still using the iron furnaces to do stuff like glass and small smelts. If I want to crush something, I have to like interrupt the ore tripling process, and it's just time to fix it. All of Mekanism's primary machines, like crushing, smelting, infusing, etc., have factory versions of themselves that process 3, 5, or even 7 of those items at once. The tiers go basic, advanced, elite, and then ultimate. We're making the advanced versions of all these and putting them next to our ore processing. This way, if I need to infuse something, crush something, smelt something, whatever, I have dedicated factories that I can just run up here and do it quicker. I made a little barrel with a where all the output goes. Nice. And after many trials and tribulations, ladies and gentlemen, may I present the machine of the episode. Please don't press against the ropes. Stay back. The digital miner. Its glory incarnate. The answer to all of our dreams and even aspirations that we didn't know that we had. So let's talk about this sleek beast. The digital miner is an auto miner. It mines in an adjustable area. Radius plus depth can be adjusted. It also has a built-in filter system that uses tags, NBT, and other ways to decide what to mine. I use the tag filters. To do all ores, you would simply create a new tag filter and then type asterisk ore. The asterisk is a wildcard symbol, and so it will mine any and all ores in its radius. If you want to get more specific, for instance, you could do asterisk coal, and it would mine all coal ores, including nether coal if it finds it. If it doesn't, it just doesn't mine because it's not there. The number of tags you can use are unlimited, so you can only imagine how specific you can get with this. Most Mekanism machines can also take upgrades, which includes the digital miner. The upgrades need a deep dive all on their own, but there's things like speed upgrades, energy efficiency, and so on. Adding upgrades drives up your energy cost per tick, so be aware that it can add up. The only exception are the efficiency upgrades that help with this. Finally, the miner has its own options. It can auto-eject its ores, it can silk touch ores, it can fill the spots it mines, etc. Each of these options, except auto-eject, drives up your energy cost / per tick also. I set mine to mine all ores and sit back to watch the glory happen. Really drained that battery quick. That's okay. We'll just take it back and hook it up directly to our power network. Well, how much? Shit and Shinola. We're not even near that. Rookie hour, Crane. Frickin' rookie hour. Yep. I ground all that out and don't have the power to support it. I need to go build something and think. For cranes, I'm mad at the world, but really at my self-build. We're hitting up mob grinding utilities for, you guessed it, a mob grinder. At some point, we need to go to the end, and the occasional Enderman coming by and me killing it, although there are a lot of them that come by, just aren't providing enough ender pearls. A mob grinder will provide that and more. As a very light overview, mob grinding utilities has 3 tiers of mob grinding. First one is spikes, which kill mobs and drop XP. The next is the mob grinder. It's a rotating, upgradable grinder that damages mobs and collects liquid XP and has them drop loot as if a player killed them. And finally, the entity summoner, where you process that liquid XP into XP jelly babies. Yeah, for real. And use those to summon specific mobs and then kill them. It lets you make like specific mob farms like blaze rods and stuff. First, we build a floor and put down a mob fan. The fan blows mobs 5 spaces in the direction that it's pointing, 1 block wide. We put in width upgrades so that it blows 5 spaces wide, so 5 wide and 5 long, and then build a building around this, leaving 6 blocks from the fan. This way the mobs get pushed 5 blocks into that 6th block space, and then they're basically trapped there by the fan. So in this 6th block, in the middle, we put the mob grinder and then conveyor belts pointing towards the mob grinder to move anything that doesn't come straight down in the middle into the mob grinder. Now we need some cursed chicken feed to feed to a chicken to get a cursed egg to make cursed earth that will spawn hostile mobs constantly if it's in the dark. That's how we're going to power it. So basically the old cursed earth that you used to use drops of evil to create with, if you know the mod, same thing. This requires buckets of XP to craft. The mod allows the collection of liquid XP, and the simplest way to do it before your farm is up and running is to create a Singularity XP tank that holds liquid XP. If you place it down and then stand on top of it, it suctions XP from your experience bank into the tank. We've got a ton right now, so it doesn't matter for us. And once it's in the tank, then you can take buckets and bucket it out. Bam, you have buckets of XP. Using these buckets, I make the cursed feed, find a poor helpless chicken, and stuff it down its gullet, and a cursed egg. Thank you for your service. We will honor your spirit. Taking this egg, you right-click on some earth, and it turns the earth in a 5x5 into cursed earth. Don't be like me and build a 5x5 area and then not click in the center and it not do everything. It'll work, but I'll have to make another egg. Anyway, we got spawns. They're being ground, so let's collect the goodies. In the back of the building, I put an absorption hopper which picks up items and XP in an adjustable area, converting the XP to liquid XP. We pull the items into a barrel and then pipe the XP into the XP Singularity tank. On top of that, we put a press, and the press uses a mold that presses the liquid XP into XP jelly babies, and they go over to the barrel where they're going to build up. And we're already raking in the ender pearls. Within a day, I've got stacks and stacks of them. So, back to power. If we're going to do power, we might as well get it over with and do it right. I create 2 elite energy cubes. Ouch to the resources, but it's worth it. Which will hold 6 million RF each. Charge them up. Takes forever. Set the miner to mine coal and iron, the 2 resources that we're going to need in spades. And I swap those cubes in and out, keeping the miner going as I'm working. Not ideal, but it's going to work. Now, I clear out a spot for a power building, including excavating out a basement, which always helps when you're doing stuff like this. I use some of this space to create a large water production facility in the basement using aqueous accumulators and a tank for future water needs. And since we've got a while on the mining, we're going to break into the thermal series just to knock some quests out. And Magmatic Dynamos. They use lava for fuel, and they seem cool to start with. Never mind that we just had a disaster with lava. It'll be fine. Thermal series recipes are a lot of redstone and gold, which I have plenty of, so we'll make a line of Magmatic Dynamos and set them up, and I need lava. Smart way this time, though, why don't we? So I create a ranged pump. An elite tank holds 128 buckets, along with a charged basic energy cube to power the pump. Go to the nether, set everything up. Within a few minutes, we have a full tank. Take the tank, pipe it from there to the dynamos, and done. Mainly done for quests and to kill time. These do a base of 40 RF per tick each, so it's not a ton. But we can upgrade these later, make some passive lava production for them, and get a decent amount of power out of them, and it'll probably be fun. So, but for real power, we gotta go bigger. Way bigger. Bigger reactors, that is. Now, I aim to fix our power issue well into the late mid-game. Bigger Reactors is a mod that lets you make multi-block reactors of various sizes and of 2 basic types. The first type is a passive reactor that you just feed uranium, it makes power, and outputs waste. Then, you have the turbine reactor, which creates steam, which powers a turbine, which makes power. There's heat exchangers and a bunch of other stuff. It's a quite complex mod with different fuels that can cause different heat and radiation levels, different ways to cool your reactors, from blocks to materials to liquids. You can even hook in computer craft and control your reactor with Lua programs. Today, we're going for a basic but powerful passive reactor. To get started, we need lots of uranium, graphite, which is smelted coal, and iron. I'd say probably 6 to 8 stacks of each to be comfortable before we start. At its core, a reactor is a fuel rod surrounded by some kind of cooling and encased in reactor casing blocks with a reactor controller and at least 3 port blocks, an input for fuel, an output for waste, and a power tap to pull power out. The absolute smallest reactor you can make is a 3x3. We're going considerably bigger. So we start out by laying out the reactor floor and our fuel rods. I want 9 fuel rods in a 3x3 formation with 1 block in between each rod. I enclose this with walls 1 block out from the rods, and then cap the fuel rods with reactor control rods. Now these aren't necessary, but they'll boost your efficiency and help with your ability to control heat. Then I box the entire thing in with reactor casings, use reactor glass on the front so we can see inside, add the reactor terminal, 2 access ports, setting one to input for our fuel, the other one to output for our waste. Each one of them has their own barrel, a power tap port. I place the last block to complete it, open the terminal. Hey, we're good, but we're not even near done. When running, our reactor will produce heat and radiation. If our reactor gets too hot, it goes boom and takes out the island. A bad thing. So to cool a reactor, you can place coolant around the fuel rods. This is why I left 1 block in between them so I can surround all the rods. You can pump various liquids in or use solids. The bigger reactors wiki has a list of materials and their cooling ratios, and I see that copper has really good cooling, which makes sense. And we have so much copper, like 50 stacks, I'd say. It's really uber abundant and there's really little to do with it, so I'll jump at the chance to use some. And it took way more than I thought, but I basically filled every spot in the reactor with copper blocks, except for 1 strip in front of each fuel rod so we can see the rods when they fill with fuel. Basically a big, huge copper hot sink. So we add uranium ingots into the barrel and the first stage of glory begins. The filling. A moment of silence out of respect, ladies and gentlemen. And the big moment, turning it on. Temps are coming up. Let's give it a moment. The reactor has stabilized with amazing heat. Max is 20K and we're hovering around 3.5. And we're outputting 40,000 RF per tick. Oh, baby, that victory tastes good. That is enough power to last us quite a while. We'll need more in-game, but that's most of our mid-game power right there. Now, it does have a couple of drawbacks. It outputs waste. That's easily handled. Even if necessary, we could pipe it into a trash can. But it does require a steady supply of uranium. Now, without speed upgrades, the miner's kind of slow, and I doubt the miner will satisfy our demand. If I add speed, I need to add efficiency, and if we're going to do that, I might as well do that as a group for all the machines. We'll do that later. So, although I didn't think we were going to use mystical agriculture all that much, we just might. We're going to grow our uranium. We need uranium seeds. These are tier 4 seeds out of tier 5 tiers, and we'll craft them using mystical agriculture's infusion altar. Basically a central pedestal surrounded by 8 other pedestals that will hold ingredients and create mystical agriculture items. Seeds for materials have various tiers, with the rarer stuff being on higher tiers. This is a tier 4 seed, so we need the tier 4 version of Inferium, which is Imperium. The infusion requires 4 uranium ingots, 4 Imperium, and 1 base prosperity seed. Apply a redstone signal to the altar. I just use a pressure plate. A nifty animation, and you have your seed. Note that some seeds require actual captured entities inside a soul jar to create seeds. An example is Enderman essence, which crafts into ender pearls. To make an Enderman seed, you need Supremium and 4 Enderman in soul jars. We'll talk of that's all later. Takes a while to get enough Imperium, but we work towards 8 seeds while we craft the underlying infrastructure. I create 8 more cloches and install these in the power building basements. Same concept with the Inferium. Uranium seeds produce uranium essence. 8 uranium essence equals 2 uranium ingots, which we craft through an RFTools Crafter and feed directly into the in barrel for the reactor. I did 8 cloches so that 1 cloche cycle produces a full crafting recipe, making 2 ingots. Just my OCD. Anyway, we'll have to see how this plans out combined with the miner. This likely isn't all that we're going to need to make this truly fully independent, but it's a start. All of the cloches are set up on Xnet, and I take the time to hook that water tank where we set up to Xnet, create a water channel, and we finally have water distribution on Xnet. Finally, I moved the Xnet controller to the power building, just seemed to make more sense, along with the energy cubes, and put in the elite cubes as our primary batteries. Didn't take long to charge them. Nice. Ooh, man, that was a busy episode, but we have definitely moved forward. Our power issues should be solved for quite a while. We need more elite cubes, and I still think that we need to boost uranium production. I think that's going to be an issue, but let's look at it. This episode, we knocked out B Central, Inferium Auto Crafting, Tinker's Smeltery, Mekanism Factories, Digital Miner, got a mob grinder done, power building, magmatic dynamos, a banging nuclear reactor, and elite energy storage. A pretty impressive list for Chapter 3, so yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and you already know, man, if you like what you see, if you like what you saw, just leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time as we continue to push the boundaries and our sanity in Chapter 4 of TNP Limitless 5 in a nutshell.